Hello, my queens. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are on day number 12 of our teaching about prayer. And today we are talking about how long should we pray, right? How long should we pray? Well, as you know, there is no set time or amount of time, that we have been given to pray. However, we do see that in the life of Jesus, we know that he prayed 1 hour in the Garden of Gethsemane. You know, each one of us must come to a point where we cry out to God, Lord, teach me to pray, right? You have to ask God to teach you, allow Him to show you how long He wants you to give yourself to prayer and how He wants you to pray. Learning to pray really begins by making the choice to be alone with God, right? So it starts with a choice. You have to decide that you're going to spend time with Him and allow him to lead you on how long you should give yourself to prayer each day. When you come to the place where you can do like Jesus and tarry with the Lord for 1 hour, something supernatural is bound to happen. You will begin to understand the character and purposes of God and to experience the anointing and the power of God as never before. I'm telling you, it is an amazing feeling. So you may say, well, 1 hour, that's too long. I don't think I can pray for that long. And that's okay because you really have to build yourself up to that point. So if that seems too difficult, how about starting with 15 minutes a day dedicated to praying, right? And so if you start with 15 minutes, then strive to increase your prayer time, right? Don't stay at 15 minutes. Strive to, eventually get to 20 minutes and then eventually get, to 30 minutes and then 45 minutes and then build your way up to an hour. Or at one point you may go beyond an hour. And so as you pray, a basic question that you may begin to ask yourself is, well, how long should I spend, praying about a certain situation or praying for a certain person? In the Bible, and a lot of people like to say, I know you've heard it maybe in church about, vain repetition, right? And so listen, this is the this is the story that I want to give you for that. It's Luke chapter 18, verses 1 through 8. It's the parable about the judge. The parable about the judge who the widow, kept begging him. She kept going to him for legal protection from her opponent, right? And for a while, he was unwilling, right? He wouldn't bend. But afterwards, she kept going to him, and he began to think to himself, like, okay, look, let me just get this woman what she wants so she can leave me alone, basically. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, so I said that to say, um, the idea, right, is to be persistent. We must pray persistently and we must pray tenaciously, right? When a response is delayed, like in this story in Luke 18, it does not mean that you are denied, right? Because if you remember, in a previous lesson, we talked about when his prayer was held up for 21 days, right? So just because it's delayed does not mean that it's denied. And that does not mean that you supposed to quit praying about it, right? When it's delayed, you must continue to hold fast in prayer. You must continue to pray. Like, don't give up and don't feel like it's vain repetition, because I think people take that out of context, right? I really do. So we must keep on asking. We must keep on seeking the face of God. We must keep on knocking. And we just must, we must hold on to our faith, knowing that God is going to come through for us. And so, um, about vain repetition, right? When vain repetition are empty, that's empty words. There's no faith in it. You're just talking, speaking, saying the same thing over and over just to hear yourself talk, right? But but it's not to be confused with a prayer that's spoken in faith, right? As long as you're praying and you're praying in faith, it's not considered vain repetition. And so prayer is only vain repetition when you speak the empty words with no faith behind it, right? Or this is the kicker. Or if you ask with a wrong motive, okay? Because James 4:3 tells us, it says, and even when you ask, you don't get it because your motives are all wrong. You want only what will give you pleasure. So make sure you have the right motives when you are praying, okay? You got to have the right motives. I posted on my Facebook page the other day. Motives matter. They really do. And so let's look at Jesus, as he was being tenacious and asking with the right motive, in the Garden of Gethsemane, he was like, my Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me, yet not as I will, but as thou will. And that's Matthew chapter 26, verse 39. But listen, Jesus made that same request. He prayed that same prayer 3 times, right? You can look at Mark 14:39, Matthew 26:44 as well. And you'll see where he prayed the same prayer. So, I mean, we must persevere in prayer, right? We must persevere in prayer. We have to keep praying until basically the Lord lets us know that it's okay to stop praying, right? We don't just stop praying on something because we feel like, oh well, it's not happening. I'm not seeing any change. You have to understand, you have to keep the faith, right? You have to keep the faith. And pray, remember, let this be a takeaway for you. Prayer is only vain repetition when you speak empty words without faith behind it, or if you ask with the wrong motive. Okay? So, how long should you pray? Be led by God, right? Start with 15 minutes and just build it up, build your time up over time. So, is there's really no, there's really no time that's, too long. You can't pray for too long. And then you can't pray, not enough time. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can only pray for 10 minutes, good. Start with 10 minutes, right? But keep doing it until you can pray longer, right? The goal is to try to increase your time. And so that's our lesson for today. I will see you guys back here on tomorrow. I appreciate you coming in, watching the replays on the videos. I pray that you're still taking notes, and let me know how this is going for you. If it's going really well for you, invite someone else to the group, and let's continue to learn about prayer. All right. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye bye.